it was not simply for himself. It was for the people he hoped to lead. He wanted to distinguish himself in their eyes. The sense of community was central to the master's dream of his life. The desire to accomplish deeds that would gain the lasting respect of his fellow men. That was from a passage of a book I just picked up from the library called Leadership in Turbulent Times. It's written by Doris Kearns Goodwin. And that's what we're going to discuss too this session. It's about leadership. Another book quote unquote, because Robertson adhered sternly to the rigorous disciplines of the regular army. He was defeated for election as a colonel and the reorganization of his command. That canceled his commission, but it made him available for other services. The president's hope in promoting him in June was that Robertson's admitted ability as a drill master could be well employed in the training of Ashby's men, Colonel E. Grumble Jones of the 1st Virginia. Don't be surprised. It's the second volume written by Douglas Southern Freeman, Lee's lieutenants. Now, 2 different books. This one's mine. This is from the library. 2 different books. 2 different men. One was Lincoln, one was Robertson, a lieutenant general in Lee's army. What does leadership mean? How do we move forward and are able to be leaders in our own right and in our own communities? That's the key. Why did I show you 2 different books? Why did I show you 2 different leadership styles? One was a drill instructor, so we know that most drill instructors don't endear themselves to their soldiers. And the other who wants to endear himself to his community. I picked those 2 because they're both needed in how we move forward after the death of George Floyd. How do we move forward after a time in 2018 where an 8-year-old is getting arrested by police officers, half and half child? How do we move on? How do we lead in this way? This session is going to have 2 parts. The first part is style of leadership, strategic, tactical, constant drilling, following mandates, endearing ourselves to the people we lead. Now, when you do this, when you learn what kind of leadership style is best, you start where? Start close to home. Whether you be a mother who did the best she could with her kids, especially boys, and she tries to be both a man and a woman inside a body. or if you're a single dad who is trying to be caring, a mother, and rigorous, of course, being a father. Does the leadership styles do you have to be more of one than the other? Of course. If you're raising two daughters, I did, you have to be more compassionate. You have to be much more graceful. You have to be much more understanding of tender things. That's, of course, if your girls are that way. My oldest daughter was more gentle, more female, and my second daughter was a little more rough around the edges. So in that there is shades of gray. My sons, I have two sons. So one of them is very gentle. One of them is he's not, gay, but at the same time he's much more gentle than the other. And then my youngest son is more, although he has a health condition, very hard, very strong. You know what I mean? Is able to follow consistent drill instruction. Okay? When you're talking about how do we move forward from a place like this in our turbulent times, how do we understand what we should do in our communities? Find out what kind of leadership style worked in your own households first. Okay? And in that way, you'll know what worked with a particular leadership style when it comes to your daughters, when it comes to your sons. Okay? And whether they be, if a son is gay, or if a girl is gay, or if a son is straight, or if a girl is straight. Still, there's always that male, female, feminine, masculine in both. Whether they be straight or whether they be gay. Okay, whether they be bisexual or whatever. Trans, whatever. Excuse me. So, when we look at a particular time in our nation's histories, in this book, we have 4 different presidents, and as you can see, there's Johnson, there's Roosevelt, Teddy, and Lincoln. They all had different styles. Johnson would say he did more for the civil rights movement than any. A lot of people think that Lincoln didn't go far enough. A lot of think that Teddy was not only a racist, but he pushed too hard. And then there's one of my favorite, Franklin Roosevelt, who through World War II carried this nation, and in my assessment, could have probably led this nation even further had he lived longer. But what we don't need is to have somebody tell us that we need to follow him blindly. Okay? No good leader wants you to follow him blindly. I was a coach football. And I coached Little League up to the older kids. And I could tell you that showing my kids how to play the game, but at the same time be able to make decisions on the fly when it called for, is even better. That shows my leadership skills, that I can pass on leadership to someone else and let them take over. If you have a president who's trying to maintain control just for the sake of power, that's a dictator. If you have a president who's trying to show you how to lead and you take over, that's a president, not a dictator. We don't have dictators in this country. Okay? When it suits me, I'll make it look nice for you. That's a dictator. When I lead not by showing you what you want to see, not by doing what you want me to do, but by doing what is right. That is true presidency. Thank you for watching. Leadership 2 will be up soon.